welcome back to
Oh god. Oh god. Yes. Welcome back to the podcast.
That's a keeper.
Alright, guys, as always, it's your guy, Chris, and
I'm Jack.
Yep, and as always, I guess we're talking about movies. It's funny, we had some technical difficulties, so this is sort of the second time we're talking about, what's the movie?
Swordfish. And I swear, we're at least halfway done on that other recording.
Oh my god. Alright, forget it. But, the formula is better. Swordfish is a movie from, 2001. It's an insane movie. It follows Hugh Jackman as our character Stan, a hacker who went to prison for hacking into a government website. He was arrested by Agent Roberts, who played by Don Cheadle, and he is coerced into joining the leagues of Gabriel, played by John Travolta, by Holly Berry, someone who works for him, in order to hack back into a government website to access a bunch of government funds for a plan Hugh Jackman doesn't understand. That is the synopsis. If any of that interests you, which I don't know if it would, go watch it. Turn off the podcast now. You're going to get spoilers.
Well, that was a lot more concise than the first time, to be fair. Maybe we should do this more often.
Trial run.
Get through all the bad stuff first and then try again.
So we'll just record 3 hours trial run and then shorten it down to 30 minutes. If you want the unedited original cut, join our Patreon.
Oh, no. Hard pass. Our Patreon is free.
Oh, goodness. Oh, God. But yeah, that's the general synopsis of the movie. Now, unlike before, we're not going to dive too deep into this movie. It's on a second view through, because this is the second time we both watched it. It was bad.
It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
It was worse than the first time that I watched it, for sure.
Yeah, I think without having all the insane twists that you don't know are going to happen, it's just not interesting to watch.
I wonder if Wild Things would have the same kind of thing. Just kidding, we watched that twice. Remained good.
Exactly. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I guess that is true. Wild Things twists still stay good. And I don't know, I guess I'm just the character's motivation in that movie make a lot more, even though there were twists, that movie makes sense.
I mean, this movie kind of makes sense. There is a plot to it, but it's just convoluted, and it doesn't really care about the plot.
It does not care about the plot, and things are happening just to sort of let them happen. It's like 3 people wrote this script, and they all wrote a third of it.
All of them were definitely on cocaine. Not in the script.
Of course, man. It's Hollywood, dude. It's like the guy who, pitched Rush Hour. Let's have Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan as a buddy cop movie, and they're trying to stop a terrorist from blowing up a little girl.
That sounds like a great idea.
We'll call it Rush Hour. Why? Who cares?
This was a very rushed idea.
Is it racing or something? No.
Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in a race against time.
It's a movie for everybody. It's got black people and Asian people.
Everyone. Right then, back to Swordfish.
Which I would be fun to talk about. Okay, but yeah, back to Swordfish. So we're not gonna dive too deeply into this. We're gonna head through it real quick, kind of going linearly, but we're not gonna hit everything. A European guy gets arrested. He's a hacker. So because he gets arrested,
this is just some random European guy.
He will not matter. In fact,
maybe Latvian. I don't know.
Maybe Latvian. We had a whole nother argument about that in the last recording. What he was.
You said he was French.
I did say he was French.
I don't think he was
You
French.
said Russian.
Yeah, Russian's closer to Latvia than France is.
It is. Goodness. But, yeah, that guy freaks out. He knows since he's been arrested, someone's going to kill him. And he says some weird crap about, the guy who I work with lives in a world you could only imagine.
He's just a regular villain. He just goes to nightclubs and drives nice cars.
He's basically...
He lives in L.A.
He lives in L.A. He's basically portrayed him almost like Batman, because he's he pretends to be all, part fun and stuff, but he's
That's actually
cold,
good.
calculated.
That's actually a good comparison. He kind of is like Batman.
Dude, he's a lot like Batman.
If Batman was allowed to kill people.
If Batman used guns.
If Batman used guns. Why have they never casted John Travolta to be Batman? I'd love to see Batman dance.
Come on, guys. I could be Batman. Watch me dance.
Yeah, no.
I thought you said you got the guy from Face Off. Yeah, this is the guy from Face Off.
Wrong guy. I love that also cryptic thing of the French guy. We'll just call him French because it's funnier.
Yeah, dude.
The French guy is like, oh, if I tell you it doesn't even matter. I'm already dead.
Yes.
He is right. That scene, he does die.
Well, yeah, dude.
Don Cheadle walks out of that room for like 5 seconds and then he's dead.
Vinnie Jones shoots him and his lawyer.
Good on Vinnie Jones. Vinnie Jones is a great marksman.
Have you ever seen, what was it, that, it's like...
She's the Man? I love She's the Man.
God, that's another one.
He's the soccer coach.
That is a loaded film. I know he's a soccer... And it's him and David Cross just bantering.
I don't know. Why is Vinnie Jones in movies?
He was in everything for 10 years. Like, 98 to, like, 2008. They just were like, yeah, Vinnie Jones is a good option.
Vinnie Jones kind of is a good option, honestly. He just looks like a villain.
He does.
He really does.
Even when
he looks like a henchman.
And She's the Man, he's a soccer coach and he feels like a villain. Like, but
amazingly, he originally was a soccer player, and he was known to be a villain while playing. He's what you call a leg breaker.
I can see that. He was breaking legs in Snatch. He did a lot of that. And shooting.
Snatch is a fun movie, actually.
It is. Snatch is... I felt like this movie had the energy of like a Snatch. It just was not implemented.
It just wasn't nearly as good.
No, like they were trying to pull a Snatch off, and it was like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, Snatch is actually a good movie.
Exactly.
Wait until next week for Snatch.
Snatch is insanity done right. But yeah, so he gets shot by Vinnie Jones. Don Cheadle. Let's say this is Don Cheadle being a bad cop. Number 2. Number 1, he threw the guy's lawyer out and threatened him with a gun. Number 2, he left him for a weird call, and then his what'd you call them when you get arrested? The people he arrested got murdered, and the people escaped without him catching them.
Perfect.
So that's number 2. Whatever.
Somehow they got in and out. Vinnie Jones and this other henchman just walk into this like police building and then walk out after murdering someone.
6'3" and terribly scary Vinnie Jones walked into this precinct. No one noticed, and he walked
someone
right
just
out.
got murdered in here. Huh. I wonder who could have done it. Probably those 2 people that we've never seen before.
Agent Robert, should we check the cameras? No.
No.
We can't catch him.
Why is Don Cheadle such a bad cop in
He's
this
the
movie?
worst cop ever.
Oh my. He actually isn't the worst cop. His boss is actually the worst cop in this movie.
You're right. I thought you were going to say Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, but Kevin Bacon was trying to be a bad cop.
That is true, once you know the scheme. He was a bad cop, but then he was just a terrible detective still at the end.
Seriously, though. Okay, maybe he was a bad cop.
Oh, fuck. Gotta love callbacks. But yeah, so after the European guy is gone, Halle Berry goes to Stan, who's hitting golf balls off his trailer. He's under, like, basically probation. He just got out of prison, and he is forced to stay in Texas. Halle Berry offers him a job with Gabriel, or at least an opportunity.
Remember when she went up and said that he was bad at golf and then just smacked the ball like twice as far as any that he could? Yeah. Hilarious.
She had to show him how bad he was.
And show him her ass
well,
at the same time.
It's Swordfish, Jack. This movie says, balls and dick and blowjob and like it says it all over.
I mean, specifically in the next scene when she's offering, Hugh Jackman to come on this wacky adventure to go hacking with them. She's like, I'm not gonna suck your dick.
She says it as she's grabbing his boot off the ground.
Right, exactly, and her face is right next to his penis. So, I mean, like, I can see how Hugh Jackman was confused about this situation.
No, yeah. I do love in the scene, Hugh Jackman, like, as soon as she mentions his daughter, because she's trying to, like, manipulate him with his daughter to get him to take the job, he throws her out instantly. They just cut, like, he's tossing her out of his trailer.
See, his facial expression said that he was about to murder her, but luckily he only just slightly shoves her out of his trailer.
Luckily, he's a hacker, Jack. Maybe he would have hit her with his laptop, but, you know.
Man, if only his blades would have just came out of his hand right then and there.
And then Halle Berry shot lightning at him.
Exactly. This would have been a lot more interesting if this was an X-Men movie.
The movie just ended and he got hit in the head and he's like, oh, wait, my name's Logan. Pulls out his claws. Decapitates John Travolta.
I'm not sure if that would make this better or worse. I really don't. So she gives him $100,000 or whatever. They decide to go to the fancy nightclub that, you know, this Austrian was talking about earlier. and you know, John Travolta is trying to, you know, see if Hugh Jackman is the real deal. Oh, people can only hack into this. It usually takes them 60 minutes to hack into this government thing, and now you need to do it in 60 seconds.
Ooh, pressure's on.
Pressure's on.
So, yes. So, and Hugh Jackman sees the website, and it's the Department of Defense, and he's like, I'm on probation. I can't do this. And he's like, well, you're gonna do it, or Vinnie Jones is gonna shoot you in the head. So now there's a gun to his head, but wait. John Travolta, Gabriel, is like, he needs some even more pressure. So a girl unzips his pants and begins to blow him.
Hugh Jackman is very confused about this whole situation. And he takes about 10 seconds until he starts actually working. And by working, I mean just slamming these keys with his fingers.
And in the middle of it, the entire time, you can see on his face fear and arousal as the gun's to his head and he's being blown, trying to hack into this website.
Two great feelings to have at the same time.
Nothing like fear boners.
Classic fear boner.
But yes, he luckily hacks into the system. The gun is empty, and the girl tries to kiss him, and he's had enough.
Yeah, Vinnie Jones pulls the trigger, and the gun was empty the whole time.
They all start laughing.
They all start laughing like it was just a big goof. Halle Berry just stands there and, like, shrugs her shoulders, like, gives him a little smirk, and he's like, what the hell is happening? Where am I?
Quick thing, he dips to go to the bathroom. He's like, what the heck was that? Halle Berry follows him in there. And then he's talking about it, and two guys walk into the bathroom. She immediately just starts making out with him to stop him from talking about whatever just happened. And then he's like, what was that? And she's like, I couldn't have you talking about that with these people around. I was like, why? About what? About him hacking? Like,
I'm telling you, if you're at, like, a nightclub and, you know, it's late and you've been drinking, you go in the bathroom, you can't really understand anything that's happening. Like,
dude, exactly. I've been to so many clubs and bars in the middle of the night.
If I would have seen this, you know, walking into the men's bathroom of Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry kissing, I still would have taken a piss. I don't know why they just walked out. Like, why? You need to take a piss. I'm going to take a piss. Like,
dude, we've probably seen, like, or I've definitely seen someone, like, nearly unconscious, and I just went to the urinal, pissed, looked at him to see if he was breathing. He was breathing, and I walked out.
Exactly, like, it's not deterring me from pissing.
No, exactly. There have to be something, there literally have to be a drug deal going on, and people are doing, like, a standoff for me to be like, oh, no,
yes, you walk in, you see a guy just shooting up heroin in there, it's like, still, I have to take a piss,
exactly.
Like, I still do, like.
Doesn't mean I don't have to piss, because this is awkward now. But yeah, so after that, Hugh Jackman agrees to join them for some reason to get this money because...
The money, Chris.
The money, he offers
and the women.
And the women. He offers them $10 million to hack into it because Hugh Jackman has a daughter and he needs to pay for a custody lawyer. So if he gets all this money, he can get his daughter back. So that's why we care about him.
That's the only thing that makes him sympathetic in this whole thing.
It's the only thing. Like,
honestly, the scene where he goes and sees his daughter is actually kind of touching.
Well, yeah, because, like, when he goes to see his daughter, like, she's like, her mother is not showing up. Her mother is unconscious, like from drugs and alcohol.
She has like a cigarette still like hanging out her mouth.
Exactly.
You see this phone ringing, like just the worst mother.
Exactly, and she's just all the other kids have left school. She's just waiting, and Hugh Jackman driving Halle Berry's car comes up and picks up his daughter, gives her a huge hug. You can see how much they miss each other.
Gives her that stuffed giraffe. Like, oh my god, it's a very sweet moment. It's the only sweet moment in this entire movie.
Well, yeah, and he tells his daughter, like, don't worry, I'm going to do something so we can be together again. And his daughter, being maybe one of the smartest characters in this movie, is like, please don't do anything illegal.
Please, I don't want you to go back to prison.
Please don't go back to prison.
And he's like, don't worry, I won't. And it's like, you're on the fast track to go back to prison, like, right now.
Like, we've skipped this.
You're not supposed to be seeing your daughter right now.
Dude,
this is illegal.
He's in L.A. He's supposed to be on probation in Texas.
Right.
He's already breaking the law. And it's fitting because right after that happens, what is it? A cop comes over to sit in his car.
The balls on this cop.
Just sits in the car.
Yeah, he just opens the door and sits in the car with Hugh Jackman.
Yes, and Hugh Jackman looks back and sees Don Cheadle, the cop who arrested him, and immediately elbows the cop in the car, reverses Halle Berry's car into their car, smashing it, hops out and starts dipping. He
runs out the back. He goes through the backyard of his daughter's mother's house, and he jumps down this giant cliff. And I swear, this is like a minute and like 30 seconds of the movie is just all three characters rolling down a hill.
And it's so, like, because you see Hugh Jackman, like, oh, I gotta do it. Just jumps off this hill, starts rolling down. Then Don Cheadle comes up and he's like, oh, goodness, and jumps over. Then the last guy is just like, and just jumps. And they're just rolling down for so long.
Also, I don't know why they're hopping and jumping as far as they can off of this. Like, why wouldn't they just try to, like, slide down or something? I don't understand this.
Dude, exactly. Like, it's like, they all, like, because, like, how it looks is, like, they had to, like, fall a bit before they hit, like, a slant, and then they all just started rolling. But then also, all of them, by the time they get down to the ground, roll onto their feet and start running.
Right, exactly.
After falling for, like, so long.
But naturally, they go down this crazy hill, and, the third cop has somehow appeared at the bottom on this beach and hits Hugh Jackman with his car.
Somehow the cop knew that when they got to the back of the yard that they'd have to hop over the hill, so he drove around somehow to the bottom of the hill and
got all the way to the bottom
in the time that they got there too. And they catch him, and then Hugh Jackman's like, what are you gonna do? Arrest me? And Don Cheadle's like, oh, why? Because you're breaking probation? Or because you
assaulted a police officer? Evaded police?
Almost nearly killed me? No, I'm not gonna arrest you. And
obviously I'm not gonna arrest you. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, arrest him. Like,
even if he has nothing to do with whatever you think he does have something to do with, he's breaking tons of laws. Like,
seriously. Probably my favorite part of the whole scene is when Hugh Jackman's walking away. In the background, you see two people just fishing and not paying attention to this ordeal at all.
Fantastic extras. They knew the assignment. We're just a fishing. It's the second time there'll be fishing in this movie.
Aha! There's fishing in Swordfish.
But yes, after this insanity, because Don Cheadle's like, why are you in L.A. or whatever, and he doesn't tell him, and he, lets him know that his friend, the European guy, was in town, and Hugh Jackman's like, oh, tell him I say hi, and he's like, I would, but he's dead. And Hugh Jackman's like, he's dead? That guy we kind of know? Oh my goodness. So he has...
That Polish guy?
That Serbian guy?
Anytime we reference him, we just have to come up with something else European.
He's completely different every time. But yeah, so Hugh Jackman heads back, he's got to share the bad news that he wrecked Halle Berry's car, because he did drive that back.
Never brought up ever again.
Never brought up again.
Probably because when he gets there, Halle Berry, for some reason, has her door open when she's changing, and she's wearing a wire.
And Hugh Jackman freaks out. It's like, you're wired? Who are you working with? And she's like, don't tell anybody, the DEA. And it's like, the DEA? And I'm like, the DEA? What does this have to do with the DEA?
I have no idea.
No drugs involved.
Hugh Jackman clearly is not very clever.
The man knows computers. He does machines, Jack.
So she says that she works for the DEA, and also she's wearing a wire, and her door is like wide open. She is clearly not a real police officer. Like,
who would be trained in when they have their wire on with their door completely open?
Are you crazy? Why?
Exactly. And then Gabriel comes in or whatever to, like, you know, talk to, like, them, and he's, like, suspicious or whatever. Hugh Jackman decides to not tell him. And they go to, like, do the hack or whatever. They finish the hack. And this
Great scene.
Exactly.
Great scene of him hacking. Of him just drinking wine and getting frustrated and really happy. Putting little cubes on a big cube.
It's like GameCube. It's like the GameCube loading screen. And he's, like, dancing, and he's drinking wine. He's being frustrated. You're right. It's so much techno music.
It's the best scene in the whole movie.
We're still in that point in the early 2000s where it's like, oh yeah, when you're hacking, you need upbeat techno music going on.
This is what hacking looks like.
This
is what coding is.
All he would have needed, you know, if he just had a Monster energy drink, like, that would have only been the thing that completed, because, like...
Yeah, he's mixing his wine with Monster.
Like, we skipped over it a lot in this movie. It's minor, but they have Hugh Jackman throughout this movie dressed up in, like, you know, nerdy t-shirts and jeans and, like, Converse and stuff and everything, just to make him, like, you know...
They keep making comments about his clothing, too.
Exactly, like, they're like...
It's very hurtful.
Well, it's because they're doing this thing where it's like, we gotta make Hugh Jackman look like a, you know, a nerd, like, cause he hacks, when it's like, you can just be a normal person and know computers, like...
If you wanted a nerd, you should not have casted Hugh Jackman.
Seth Green was working.
Seth Green existed at this time.
Imagine this movie with Seth Green.
Oh my god, this movie would be so funny if Seth Green was in this role.
Oh god. But yeah, so he completes the hack. And the entire time, Don Cheadle and the FBI are watching them. They've been taking pictures. So the senator, who's a key part of this movie, gets a call, and he's like, oh no, the FBI is onto us. So he tells Gabriel to back down, and Gabriel's like, no.
And he just, like, hangs up.
Yeah.
And the senator's like, well, you know, if you have a 200-pound, like, pit bull, and it's like, what kind of... Or Rottweiler.
Yeah.
If you have a 200-pound Rottweiler, even if he bites you once, you gotta put him down. And I was like, what are you talking about? You have a 200-pound Rottweiler somewhere?
200 pounds?
Sheesh.
Jesus Christ. That's close to a tiger.
You should put that down anyway.
Exactly.
Preemptively.
Any animal that gets up to 200 pounds is dangerous. But yeah, so you know, he's gonna send some mercenaries after John Travolta. So Hugh Jackman, happy, he's completed the hack. He's out of wine. He's gonna go get some more wine. And as he's in the basement looking for wine, he finds the corpse of John Travolta in the basement.
This is probably the most confusing thing about the whole movie.
And then, like, he immediately freaks out, runs upstairs, runs into John Travolta, and John Travolta's like, what happened, Stan? You look like you've seen a ghost.
You just knew he was gonna have a stupid, corny line like that.
He's doing it the whole movie. And Stan just, Stan, let's go for a drive.
Let's go talk. let's go for a drive real quick.
Let's not talk here. Let's talk somewhere else. Like,
why? I don't know. We're progressing the plot. Kind of.
We need a certain number of scenes in this movie. So they're all out on a drive. John Travolta saying more bullshit about bullshit.
Well, he's talking about Harry Houdini.
Oh my god, yes.
And he's talking about you know, it's the art of misdirection. Hey!
God, every time he does this in this movie, I'm like, fuck.
This is not the last time he talks about misdirection.
No, it's not the last time he does a BS quote. Like, he does this the whole movie.
He is just bullshitting the whole time. It's so funny.
God.
He is the best character in this movie.
He is, though, by far.
He's so entertaining.
He's the most interesting one. But what was it? Yeah, so as they're driving or whatever, two huge SUVs are starting to come near them or whatever. And John Travolta's like, Stan, take the wheel. And Hugh Jackman takes the wheel. And then Gabriel stands straight up in the car, pulls out 2 guns, and starts shooting people in the adjacent cars.
Right, he just has these pistols, and he's just shooting sideways, completely extended both ways. And, like, he destroys both of these cars at the same time. He pulls over. He pulls out, like, a huge machine gun. And, you know, he just starts shooting down this, like, crowded street. Like, there are people on this street.
People everywhere. And then, as there's more cars are coming, he tells Stan to take the wheel, and Stan's like, I can't drive stick. And John Travolta's like, learn!
That's just one line. He just says, learn! And Hugh Jackman does! He learns right then and there how to drive stick.
It becomes the Fast and the Furious. Like, he is whipping and drifting, and like at one point, Hugh Jackman drives down, like, whips into a dark alley, and then goes through incoming traffic without getting hit. First time driving stick.
I mean, just the fact that they drive through traffic like 4 times in this whole sequence, and they are never hit.
It's insane.
You try that once, you'll die.
Like you said, this is maybe the most unbelievable thing in this movie.
This scene is nuts, and it's hilarious. Considering John Travolta, soon after this, explains why he's going after this money. It's quite ironic.
But after this happens, John Travolta helicopters out to, I don't know, the middle of the desert, where the senator is fly fishing with no one around.
Yeah, he's just in the middle of nowhere fly fishing.
Not a car anywhere nearby, not a boat.
How did he get there? Did he walk all the way out there?
Exactly. And John Travolta, going up and being John Travolta, says another BS line about how Thomas Jefferson shot a man for treason on the White House lawn. And he pulls out his gun to shoot the senator. And the senator the whole time is like, well, now hang on, boy. Let's think about this. You shouldn't shoot me.
Now, what are you gonna do with that gun there, son?
What do you think's gonna happen?
One shot, dead. Got him. The senator's gone. At the same time, they also are showing that his, like, assistant also dies.
Yeah, they blow up his car.
Yeah, they blow up his car. And, like, this assistant looks, like, suspicious about turning his car on, which is, like, is he, like, psychic or something? Why would he be suspicious about turning his car on?
Because he saw the Pelican Brief.
Because he saw the Pelican Brief, that's right.
He knows people. They put explosives
a
on the cars.
few years ago, Pelican Brief came out.
He was like, I just did some weird, dark government things. Should I put my key in the ignition and my car might blow up?
And does. And sure enough, it blows up and he's super dead.
Yes.
And I don't even think they gave him a name in this movie.
They did not. These are 2 non-characters. I don't even think Senator has a name besides Senator.
No, the senator definitely has a name. I just can't possibly think of what it is.
Dude, good for him. I could not remember it.
So, you know, that's like, I swear that's like the main plot of the story is like John Travolta and the senator trying to get this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or trying to get this money.
trying
to get this movie. They're trying to get through this movie.
The main plot is they both produced a movie. It's like Get Shorty, where a senator and a government agent want to make a movie.
This actually would kind of make sense considering the opening scene with John Travolta talking about Hollywood only producing shit movies.
It would make a lot more sense. Now, that could have been an interesting movie. But it is called Get Shorty. Crap. But yeah, so the senator's dead. We're back to our main plot. Hugh Jackman is, he's finished up the hack and stuff and everything. And John Travolta's finally like, I'm going to let you in on... he's given him the $10 million, but he's like, for some reason, I'm going to let you in on what we do here.
Also, this is not confirmed that he has $10 million. He gives Hugh Jackman a phone, and on the other end, some woman says, we've just opened up an account that has $10 million in it for you, in your name. And it's like, is that really a confirmation?
It's a fair point. He hasn't checked his account.
It's not even his account. It's just a different account. It's a new account.
All right, he doesn't have access to it. Anyway, John Travolta, he after all they've been through, with the massacre in the city and the hacking, he's like, I'm going to tell you what I do, Stan. And he tells him, like, the money's from a bunch of dummy corporations that the government set up to just launder, like, money for like drugs or something. And as I'm listening to this, I'm like, that's actually very viable. I can see the government. It's like, I would like the government in the 80s. The government literally allowed cocaine dealers from like another country to bring cocaine into the inner city. It's like, this is all very viable.
I don't know, Chris. That sounds like a conspiracy theory.
You're right. That's for our podcast, The Deep State. Oh God, but what was I saying? But yeah, so he tells him that like so he wants to access this dark money because he works with another shadow government or organization as a counterterrorism organization. That
Well, they say counterterrorism, but really what he describes is a terrorism group.
Yes.
If anyone from like the Middle East terrorizes like anyone in the West, they go and just kill a bunch of like people in the Middle East.
He literally said, "They bomb a church, we bomb a city." It's like, oh my God,
that seems not proportional.
No, not at all. And Hugh Jackman seeing all their weapons and knowing what's going to happen, how they're going to break into a bank, decides to escape, and he pulls out 2 wires and all the lights go out.
He probably, I don't know how fast Hugh Jackman is, but the other lights come back on immediately, and like he's maybe 10 feet away from them, and John Travolta's like, leave him, he'll be back.
He's like, but still, Vinny, he shall return.
Be calm, Vinny.
Vinny just grumbles.
Arr.
Vinny Jones could have been a Frankenstein in the movie.
Honestly.
But yeah, so Hugh Jackman runs off, and he goes to get his daughter or whatever, because he's like, these crazy people are after me, they need me to do this hack, I need to go to my daughter to make sure she's safe. But unfortunately for him, they've already been to his wife's place, killed his ex-wife and her husband, and kidnapped his daughter. And note that this is all before he has betrayed Gabriel, that they have gone and murdered his ex-wife and her husband and kidnapped his daughter.
Preemptively kidnapped the daughter.
They've done this just in case, because Gabriel always knows everything that's going to happen. Everything's planned.
He's almost like the Emperor from Star Wars. He knows everything that's about to happen next.
All they needed was a scene where we talked about Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Some consider this to be unnatural. Yeah, probably. I still think that regardless, this is like a favor to Hugh Jackman because, you know, John Travolta has killed his ex-wife, who's a huge bitch, and, you know, won't let him even talk to his daughter, so.
Well, of course, dude. That's why they portray his wife, and, like, they don't even really show, like, the husband. But it's like, he's, like, you know, a pornography producer, and she's I think this is kind of detrimental to sex workers, where it's like, oh, like, you know, she's terrible, and she's, like, a porn star, so kill her. It doesn't matter.
It's not because she's a porn star that makes her a terrible person. It's just that she happens to be a huge bitch.
Yes.
That makes her a terrible person.
I agree that does make her a terrible person. That does, but they're very focused on the adult film stuff. But
they never mention it again. Hugh Jackman doesn't even like flinch at this. He immediately is like, "Where's my daughter?" Like,
I mean, and I guess, you know, honestly, from a certain point of view,
aha.
I bet John Travolta probably was like, "I'm helping you out." Like, if they would have had like just 5 seconds where he's like, "Why'd you murder them?" He's like, "To help you out, Stan. Who needs a custody lawyer when the other person asking for custody's dead?"
You know, just going by his counter-terrorism logic, this is probably how he would think.
Honestly, dude, if they just put 30 seconds in where they talk about that, I would have loved that. But knowing this, they'd have a terrible cut where we cut back to the beginning of the movie, which is actually 20 minutes from the end of the movie, where they were talking about all this Dog Day Afternoon stuff about how the bad guy should get away with it, and how, you know, what if he killed a bunch of people at the beginning.
Don Cheadle's like, "Ooh, it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
The audience wants the good guys to win. It's supposed to have a happy ending."
Yeah. And they're also like, "Oh, why don't you like Dog Days Afternoon? Homophobic?"
For 2001, that's a very funny joke.
Dude, it's surprising that Dog Days Afternoon came out and was so wellly received at that time. That dude came out in, like, what was it, like the 80s?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, dude, it's a classic. Al Pacino holds up a bank to get money for a sex change operation for his girlfriend.
I know. John Travolta explained the entire
right,
movie at the beginning of the movie. I now know what it's about.
Yeah. It's pretty good. But yeah, so we've cut back to this. There was an explosion with one of the hostages. Knowing that also I guess skip this. Hugh Jackman, instinctively knowing that Gabriel has kidnapped his daughter, pulls out the card that Agent Roberts, Don Cheadle, gave him or whatever with his number, and I'm guessing calls him to get his help. So Don Cheadle gives him back to John Travolta to hack into the bank. And as he's hacking into the bank, he pulls it off or whatever. John Travolta gives him his daughter back, and they're heading out of the bank. And John Travolta, always being as clever as ever, stops them and tells Hugh Jackman, "Good job.
Good job. This is just enough time for all of them to realize that Hugh Jackman is hoodwinking them and sending all of the money to somewhere else."
He sent into like a bunch of different accounts where it'll switch accounts every 6 hours or something.
It's like, he said it's like every 60 seconds or something.
Every 60 seconds. Yeah. And like, the only way to get it is for like Hugh Jackman to like undo something, whatever he did, but he wants them to release the hostages before he does it. And John Travolta is always being the mastermind of everything and knowing everything. He's like, no. How about this? Ginger, let's grab... I don't even think we said Ginger was Halle Berry's name.
That's her name.
Her name is Ginger. Gets Ginger, pulls her up by her neck and hangs her, and tells tells Hugh Jackman to start hacking before she dies.
Now, this is motivating Hugh Jackman's character to give John Travolta all the money back. But, like, I don't really understand why this is a motivator.
Exactly. They haven't done anything to really establish that he would care about Ginger like that. Like, they kind of established that, like, she flirts with him at different times and stuff. And, like...
she, like, made out with him once. Like...
Yeah. He's seen her breasts.
Now we all have.
She got paid, like, $500,000 for that. Good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for us.
Dude. Oh, goodness. But, so he strings her up, and, I guess Hugh Jackman, because, again, Hugh Jackman...
It's also on a 60-second, time limit again.
Exactly.
Which is really funny, because, like, they're hanging her, and it's like, does it really take 60 seconds to, like, kill someone by hanging?
Dude. I feel like it doesn't. I don't know the technical stuff, but so he's hacking into it. She's suffocating. He gets through into the system. They check. It's good. John Travolta lets her down, and then shoots her. And then he says
that was actually a really funny moment in the movie.
It's even funnier when he's like, "Stan, she was a double agent."
Yeah, he's like, "Stan, she was DEA."
DEA, and it's like, you knew?
He knows everything.
Oh god. So they got the money or whatever, or at least they have the access to it. They load up all the hostages into a bus and they start driving them out of there to an airstrip where they're gonna take them away. On the way to the airstrip, they take a detour and smash through the police blockade because they're not heading there. Instead, they head to a bridge where a giant helicopter comes, attaches hooks to the bus, and lifts it into the air to go to another destination.
I kind of like this scene, actually. I actually think this is kind of creative.
Well, what's creative is when, when they, the cops at the plane are like, "Where are they?" And one cop's like, "They're not coming." It's like, "Well, where are they?" There's they're at this bridge. And like, "All right, send people to that bridge." It's like, actually, they're not at that bridge. They're over it. And it's just like, why didn't you just say that? This
why are you being cryptic on purpose?
Just say, it's crazy, boss. A helicopter came and lifted the bus into the sky. They're going somewhere. I don't know.
Way more fair.
Dude. But yeah, so they're lifted into this freaking sky, and they're heading off somewhere. They hit a sign on their way to their destination. 2 of the hooks fall off the bus. Everyone starts hanging in the bus. They all have these bombs strapped to them, too. One of the bad guys and one of the captives falls out of the bus and explode in the sky.
And, hits of, like, a bunch of buildings
Yeah,
and everything.
He
Like,
through a building.
real funny how John Travolta is the counter-terrorist guy. Yeah, for sure. Definitely, when I think counterterrorism, I think of John Travolta and Swordfish.
You definitely think of shooting up streets, breaking into banks, and causing tons of collateral damage to cities with a flying bus.
It's all for the greater good. He can buy a nuclear warhead for $40 million, Chris.
If I buy 10, I'll get an extra one for free.
What? Who is selling these to you? How do you know everything?
Who is selling these weapons? But yeah, so they get to their destination or whatever. They're good. They're safe. They begin to, undo all the, bombs on all the passengers. They make sure there's another helicopter. And then John Travolta says goodbye to Stan, again, and...
He, once again, is like, good work.
Yeah, he's like, good work, good job. Like, even after, like, Stan, like,
good job,
betraying you multiple times. He's so nonchalant. He's just like, thanks, Stan.
I love him. He's such an entertaining character.
Because I guess from his perspective, it's like, this is all going according to plan.
Seriously, everything is going according to plan. This is somehow working.
And as they're getting the helicopter, again, this is where Hugh Jackman just loses his mind, because he is just like...
This is the most unhinged part of the movie, I'm pretty sure.
Hugh Jackman cannot allow him to get away with this for some reason.
I don't know why he's this invested into this right now.
In my mind, I'd be like, at worst, he never gave me the $10 million, and I'm probably going to go to prison. But I'm alive, and all these people are alive.
And my daughter's alive.
And my daughter's alive.
I'm about to get custody, for sure.
I definitely will. I may go to jail for a little bit or something. I don't know. I've started to help the cops. But no, Hugh Jackman's like...
What he does, he's definitely going to prison. Forever for doing this.
Yes, he goes and grabs a rocket launcher that they had on the bus, loads it up, takes it outside, and as he's about to shoot, Don Cheadle and them have raced up to the top of this building and are trying to stop him. And he blows up the helicopter that John Travolta's escaping in.
This is probably smart of the movie, but it does not show us what happens to that helicopter.
No.
Because that helicopter is destined to run into some building and kill like 100 people minimum.
Dude, exactly. It's going to take up a floor of a building. Like,
seriously, like...
Oh my god. But yeah, they just kind of cut it there after he's blown up the place, blown up the helicopter, and Don Cheadle takes the weapon, and we skip forward to an autopsy, where
somehow Hugh Jackman is not in handcuffs.
Where somehow Don Cheadle's brought Hugh Jackman just to identify the body. After murdering a copter full of people in cold blood.
Don Cheadle, like... for some reason, like, feels bad for Hugh Jackman or something.
This guy who's actively been working against you, not helping you, only came to you after his daughter was kidnapped.
This is the fun part. This is the big twist of the movie, though, is in this autopsy scene. So they show John Travolta's dead body or whatever, and like, clearly it's him, like, it looks just like him, and they're like, all right, whatever, they put the cover back on. They talk for a little bit more, and, suddenly Hugh Jackman has, like, this premonition of, like...
Because they see the body, he sees it's, like, a half-burned John Travolta or whatever, and then, yes, this detective moment starts. I'll let you continue.
Where he remembers John Travolta talking about Harry Houdini, and he's talking about misdirection.
God damn. Oh, this movie. It's so bad.
And he remembers that, at that one scene when, he was going to look for more wine, he found a dead body of John Travolta, another one. And, the doctor's like, oh, yeah, it matches the dental records completely that we got from Israel. And I was like, that's a weird, that's strange.
John Travolta's Israeli.
I guess.
Okay.
All right, whatever. We got him sent all the way from Israel real quick. But Hugh Jackman very quickly figures out that, oh yeah, John Travolta is definitely alive still. And he doesn't say anything to Don Cheadle about this. Nothing. John Cheadle just walks out, and Hugh Jackman's like, well, I'm going to buy another trailer, and I'm going to go on vacation with my daughter for the rest of this movie.
Dude, it's so nuts. It's like, you've gone from, I don't care, I just want my daughter, to,
I care completely, and I'm about to go to prison for the rest of my life for blowing up this helicopter.
I'm going to murder. Because it's one of those things where it's like, yes, John Travolta has murdered people. His guys probably have too. Do you know if the helicopter, like pilot of that plane has, like, killed anybody? Also, in this perspective, someone was flying that helicopter. Even if that body was, like, just a random dead body
They just placed there. Like,
someone died. Like, he definitely killed somebody.
He bare minimum killed like 100 people doing this action.
And dude, even in that scene when he's thinking about it and all those scenes are flashing, he's like, haha, he got another body or whatever to fake me out. He kind of like smiles or something. And it's like, why are you smiling? You hate this guy, right? Like,
do you like him or not? I like him, but I'm watching the movie and he's funny.
Exactly. And in this scene as well, like, they mention that, what is it? They never found a body, like Ginger's body. Like, it was just gone. And he's also like, they got me.
Oh, how did they do it?
It's like,
yeah, the next scene is Halle Berry walking through some bank in, like, I don't know, France or something.
Yeah. Maybe, like,
wait, where was it?
Mediterranean or something. They were, like, near a bunch of water or something. It could have been anywhere near the coast.
I forget where it was specifically. But, yeah, she just walks into a bank and she does what the plan was originally. She puts all this money in a bunch of separate accounts or whatever. She goes back out. And this is funny because John Travolta, earlier in the movie, has talked to the center about, like, I've changed my identity so many times. When he turns around in this scene, he's just blonde.
Exactly. Why wouldn't they just hire another actor to do this? Like,
maybe that looks kind of like John Travolta or something. But no, it's just John Travolta with dyed hair.
Exactly.
I keep becoming different people. What do you mean?
Exactly. That was another thing that was like, I remember I figured it out the first time watching just from like, what was it, a weird hint at the end, but going back through it when I saw that scene when he's like, I've changed my identity for you multiple times. It's like, oh, so before this entire plan started, you killed somebody. Because that guy was Israeli. I think he was also like a terrorist or something. Stole his face and then proceeded with this whole movie so you could use his body to fake your death.
But at the end, he just changes his hair.
Just changes his hair. Why doesn't he change his face?
Nice. And then the very end of the movie is like a news report of like a terrorist getting killed, and it's like like John Travolta like killed him. And it's almost like a sympathetic ending to John Travolta's character, like almost singing like he's
the hero, or
like
something.
he's a hero or something.
Like it's like, oh, the second time in like the past few weeks, another terrorist leader has been murdered or something, and it's like
most people would be like, man, that's a really good thing. But after watching this movie, it's like, maybe not.
After you witness, it's just a terrorist taking out other terrorists.
Right, like, seriously, like...
It's not like the terrorist of my terrorist is my friend.
The terrorist of my terrorist is my friend. So solid.
That's honestly should have been the tagline for this movie.
Oh, God.
God, but that's the end of Swordfish. We can go into recommendations and what we would rate it. I'm going to go with... I remember first seeing this, I put it at like... I think I put it at like a 5 out of 10 just because
I think I also gave it like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, because I was just watching the first time, I was like, this is insane. Like, I enjoyed it because it was so insane, but like...
It's just shocking the first time you watched it. Like,
just nuts because it's like, what's happening? Why is this happening? But second run through, I'd have to put it at like 3.
I was going to say just like a 4.
That's
maybe
fair.
3, but yeah, this movie is not good.
No, it's a bad movie.
Like, it's a bad movie, and I really liked watching it both times.
I liked watching it if by some, I don't know, weird thing that you haven't watched this yet, or if you didn't go watch it after we said to go watch it, I'd suggest watching it the first time through. First time through, you will be surprised, you'll be shook, like, you'll just be befuddled by what's happening on screen. It's like
second time you think about it a little bit and you're like, wow, this is a really dumb movie.
So dumb. Because you see everything coming, so you can actually be a lot more critical of the movie, and it's like, what? Like, hilarious
that the first line of this movie is John Travolta talking about how movies in Hollywood are just shit now. And it's like, this is a shit movie.
Dude, that's the thing, where it's like, I feel like this scene is shoved in at the end, because it was like, this is an awful movie. Like, I told you before, dude, like, how this movie got made had to be like, dude, you wouldn't believe it, we signed on Hugh Jackman, John Travolta, Don Cheadle, and Halle Berry to a movie. Nice, what movie?
And Vinnie Jones.
And Vinnie Jones. You know, we could probably do like a 2-3 week span of Vinnie Jones movies.
Easily.
And then they were just like, signed up for what? Who cares? We got them signed on for a movie. Someone will write
something.
Make something up.
Oh, and they did. They made up a lot.
But yeah, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. It's like one of those things where it's like, I guess, you know, from his perspective, I got $10 million. They let him keep the $10 million somehow.
I can't believe they let him keep the $10 million.
Let him keep the $10 million.
This is the best deal that could ever happen to Hugh Jackman.
They murdered his rude wife, got his kid back, and he got $10 million.
Happy ending.
It is. And
him and his daughter are, you know, hanging out like the Petrified Forest or something.
And the daughter...
Petrified Forest is super cool.
Exactly. And the daughter isn't broken up at all about what happened to her mother, probably recently.
No one cares about what happened to them. At all. Which I find very entertaining. Could not give a shit about her mother. She's like, yeah, my mother was a piece of shit. She never picked me up from school. Like, I don't care.
I got my dad back. I'm a millionaire. I'm happy.
I got my giraffe.
Well, I guess all that's left is to, sign off. So, yep, we finished Swordfish. Would recommend you watch it if you've never seen it, at least one time. If you want to watch
any movie is pretty much worth one time watching.
I hear you. I'd definitely say this one, because after you turn it off, you'll be like, holy crap. Because you know after you watch it the first time, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, watch this one time, never watch it again, never think about it again.
Exactly. That's the best thing to do with Swordfish.
Seriously.
Honestly. But yep, that's the movie we did. As always, we will watch other movies. I haven't decided yet on the next one that will be. If you want, there will be a link at the bottom of this podcast to send in suggestions. I know you don't know about that, but I put links on these.
How would I know this, Chris?
I know. Goodness, any last remarks, Jack?
Not really.
All right. Well, as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Jack.
And we're watching movies, I guess.
Something like that.